Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today to talk Skull Rain expansion for Rainbow Six Siege. That's right, Skull Rain. Yarr. The Skull Rain expansion adds in 2 new operators from the Brazilian Special Forces, or Brazil's Batalha de Operação Policiais Especiales. That's as good as it's going to get from me. I do not speak Spanish or whatever language that is. Well, you can also just call them the BOPE or the BOPE. I don't know how people are doing that. Gives you 2 new operators, one in the attack and one in the defense, as the trend has always been with operator DLC for Rainbow Six Siege. So we have Caveira, who is the defense character, who can be equipped with an M12 SMG or SPAS 15 magazine-fed shotgun, of course, backup pistol, C4 barbed wire, and she has a special skill called Silent Step, which lets her sneak up on an enemy, immobilize them, and interrogate them to get the location of all members of the enemy team. Next up on the attack, we have Capitao, who can carry either an M249 LMG, which is absolutely beast mode, by the way, or the Para 308, as well as the same pistol that Caveira has. He can also use frag grenades or stun grenades. His special ability is a crossbow that can fire either asphyxiating bolts that burn oxygen within a certain radius or micro smoke grenades. There's also some small other changes to the game. We're kind of just going to give you guys my overview and my thoughts on all of these things. I don't actually have that much footage from either of the new operators. I have been able to spend a lot of time alongside of them, which in my opinion, like a team-based game in Siege, is just as valuable as actually having played these operators. So we will definitely be talking about them in detail. But before we get into the operators, I want to talk a little bit more about the creature comforts that have come with Skull Rain. To me, the changes in Skull Rain, the changes they've made even in the last several updates, are prime examples of the willingness of the team at Ubisoft to improve Siege despite, you know, the length that the game has been out, and the fact that I do think the community is a little bit tighter now. It's a little bit smaller. I personally would love to see the numbers be bigger. I'd love to see more people be into this game. You know, Siege is always the game for me when people complain about games being too casual or being too accessible. And then I see a game like Siege having such a small player basis, I'm like, well, obviously you don't actually want a game that's more hardcore, because here we are, Rainbow Six Siege, and no one's freaking playing it. Nonetheless, I'm still able to matchmake really well on Xbox One, so the community still exists. Like I said, it's just not as big as I think a lot of us would like it to be. But for those of us who are still playing Siege and getting these wonderful free updates, we got a slew of small creature comforts. Like I said, there's been some nice changes to the HUD. We've got a better compass, you know, things like dealing with bomb locations have been refined in the HUD as well. They've also done away with that really crappy old like 3D model system where it showed your characters when you were in the squad selection menu. It was awful, it loaded slow, it felt chuggy, and it just wasn't clean, you know? I've always had a problem with the UI in Rainbow Six Siege. I think it's horrendously bad. I think there was very little effort and design put into it, and they needed to take inspiration from like a lot of the other great UI and HUD design out there, because it just feels clunky and slow. They fixed one part of it at least. Now when you're selecting your operators with your squad, you get a nice like card of your operator, nice clean cut image, looks really great. You can also go ahead and open up a separate menu that shows you all of the equipment that your team has equipped for those operators. Yes, more stuff like this. I've been arguing and fighting for things like this on the forums since day one. You know, things like the map system that only exists on the website. Where is that, Ubisoft? Come on, bring that in the game. You made one small step here. Let's make a couple big ones, and before you know it, we'll be walking right out that door into better Rainbow Six Siege land. But I'm really stoked about the ability to see my team's equipment. This is great whether you're playing with a squad or solo. You know, you really get to see what your team has. You can be aware of what equipment they've carried. That way, you know, if I'm playing with a group of friends even, I don't ask Siege to dump a grenade into a window that I'm about to breach when he doesn't actually have frag grenades. You know, I can be a little bit more aware. And at a quick glance before the match starts, it's just a nice bit of extra tactical awareness. I'm a big fan of that. More stuff like that, Ubisoft, please. Now, one of the other big things that was supposed to come, or did actually launch with Skull Rain, was a tactical realism game mode. It does away with kill confirms, gets rid of a lot of the other elements of the HUD. You've got more realistic magazine management, so actual like tactical reloads, meaning if you remove a magazine that's half full and put in a full magazine, you will eventually get that half magazine back, meaning that ammo consumption and when you reload is a little bit more important. Basically the mode that a lot of us have wanted, you know, no hit markers, no, you know, kill feed. Super cool, right? So I boot up Skull Rain and I'm like, okay, you know, where is this? Is it under casual? Oh no, that just started matchmaking me for casual. Well, it turns out it's only available in custom mode. So it's only a custom game mode right now, and it's only in beta. This is silly. Here's the thing. I think that Ubisoft thinks there's a large portion of the community that runs like private LAN events and does tournaments, and that they love the custom game mode. No one uses custom games. No one plays there. The community isn't really, like that. People aren't holding tournaments at their local arcade for Rainbow Six Siege. We're not using custom games. We're using ranked and casual. So to beta test this mode that everyone was so excited for, only in custom games, and then potentially never take it out of custom games, is extremely saddening. Get it in to casual at least. Let us beta test it there. I know a bunch of people who want to play this, but we don't have 10 friends to put together for custom games. And you think we're going to sit there and run 3v3s all day long? That's not the point of Siege. It's all about that big 5v5. So really silly decision. Like I said, it doesn't even make sense to beta test it there. No one's going to play it. Now, I had a small discussion with my friends, and some of us were like, well, maybe, it's because it's more for esports, and I think that's rubbish, number one. I don't think the esports community is at all interested in that type of a game mode. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you want to test it, and this is something that the community has said they've wanted, we wanted a more hardcore mode like this with, larger elements of realism, and they need to put it in casual. It's as simple as that. You listening, Ubisoft? Probably not, but maybe somebody will tell you, and maybe you'll make that decision. So, like I said, guys, lots of great creature comfort changes, some good ones, but I'm really not happy with what they've done with that tactical realism mode. I was really looking forward to playing that, and chances are we'll never really get even 6 people together to actually check it out. So, who knows? Maybe down the line it'll launch into casual. Let's talk a little bit about the 2 operators, starting with Caveira. Caveira is a female operator from the BOPE, and I have to say that Rainbow Six Siege has done an outstanding job of making badass operators, including the female ones. I love Valkyrie. I think her character design is phenomenal. Awesome. I like that variety in this game. I love the variety in the operators, and I love that continued push to include both female and male characters, because there's nothing better than a badass female wielding a gun. That's all I gotta say. So Caveira is that stealth character that I was cautiously concerned about. The idea of someone having silent step to me seemed like it could be a bit game-breaking. Fortunately, as it turns out, one of my good friends has been playing her quite a bit on the defense while we've been playing, and really able to support our team. As it turns out, her silent step, despite the excessive powerfulness of her pistol, which by the way has a forced suppressor on it, you can't take it off, and it also has an awesome cloth wrap on it, like you're seeing with a lot of the modern day suppressor setups, looks wicked cool and is wicked powerful. But the way the silent step works isn't so much as a way to go on these crazy kill streaks. It's exactly what it says it's for. It's a way to sneak up on the enemy, immobilize them, and then interrogate them to get their location, to then reveal the location of all their teammates on the map. It's awesome. It's a great supportive tool. And the first time that we used it, it was like this startling, like, whoa, that's awesome. And I spotted a guy on a rappel, actually. He was able to force him down off the rappel, and I very much think it helped our team be successful in that match. It's a really great supportive tool. It's not at all the kill streak, like, God mode thing that I was worried about. Great piece of balance. Just another great operator addition to the roster. On the offensive side, I should say, we have Capitao, who, as I said, carries that M249 or a Para 308 rifle. The M249 that this dude has is beast mode, and that ability to lay down that sustained fire is definitely useful for your team when pushing on the offense, especially when dealing with a defensive squad that is really hunkered down, that has really great defensive positions set up. On top of that, that's where his crossbow comes into play. So his crossbow has those asphyxiating bolts or the micro smoke grenades. Now, I'm not too sure about the micro smoke grenades. They're kind of a setup tool like smoke grenades in general. It's not something that we see people using often in Siege anymore. My squad doesn't really run smokes. But it's nice to be able to toggle between the two. You don't have to select one or the other and then be locked in for that round. You can toggle between the two on the fly. The cool thing about those asphyxiating bolts is, again, much like his M249, where it's great at making that sustained fire to help your team push in, those asphyxiating bolts are great at pulling people out of tight corners. And we know that's a big part of playing Siege on the defense, is locking yourself down, getting that angle where you have instant line of sight on the enemy, where you are guaranteed to get first shot. These asphyxiating bolts help add to the fray. They're a super smart piece of design. They're not a direct kill. And this is the biggest thing that Ubisoft has been able to maintain across all of these operators, is that they haven't given them any abilities that have allowed them to just become instant killing machines. That's a fine line to walk while you keep introducing all these operators, and Ubisoft has done it very, very well. I'm really impressed with that. We'll see how things go down the road, 1-2 weeks of playing the game. If people start, maybe overutilizing Silent Step, and if people start being able to find weird things with the asphyxiating bolts. But right now, they seem to be in a great place. I've had 2 full nights of playing alongside of these characters. I'm the nice guy, and I always let my friends play as the cool operators first, despite having the season pass. Yeah. Stoked to have them on the roster. They make a great addition to the team, and the roster feels really full now. Like, there was already a lot of operators in Siege, but it feels more dense than ever, and I think the variety that we have in both the offense and the attackers feels great. And it's not just about their loadouts, but that push that Ubisoft has made to include operators from around the world really connects for me. It's just cool to go in there and see the diversity in the actual characters themselves. That's not something you normally get from a first-person competitive shooter. So stoked that Ubi's been able to pull that off. Congratulations to them, and of course all the other guys working on Siege. Now, I have not had a chance to play the new Brazil map, which is supposed to be the most destructible map to date. Once I do, the Brazilian favela, as it's called, I'll give you guys a full video on that, because I do have concerns about a map that is more destructible. There was some concerns I had in the beta when they had a lot of areas of the map were completely destructible. But there were also things I liked about that. When they decided to really lock down what you could and couldn't destroy in the full release from beta and alpha, I was happy and unhappy. So if they have one map that maybe harkens back to what it was like in alpha, that could be cool. Once I have a chance to spend some more time on that map and actually get some solid impressions, then I'll bring you guys a separate video for that. I want to cover Siege, but I'm not going to make it a priority where it pushes other content out of the way. It's simply going to be a thing, if I have the time and I get the gameplay in and I get the footage and I get my thoughts and my first impressions and I feel comfortable with my opinion and it's well established, then I'll go ahead and share it with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is going to be the last video for the week. I hope you enjoy your Friday. Have a great week, and I'm going to head on vacation, and I will see you guys back here Tuesday for the Titan that is No Man's Sky. And of course, if you guys have any thoughts of your own regarding Rainbow Six Siege's Skull Rain update, let me know down in the comment section below. If you made it this far, one thing I would like to ask you is, what is holding you back from playing Siege if you haven't already played it? What sort of barriers do you see in your way to enjoying this game? And what would it take for you to actually pick up a copy of Siege and give it a go? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.